anybody else, but I'm going to speak for myself. It's perfect.
I hear. And everybody ready? We are getting live stream. Okay. Well, I want to call this meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to our very first meeting of the Park Recreation and Culture Committee of Community Board 9. So we're going to start with the introduction. Maybe let's do a little bit like an icebreaker. So I'll pick somebody, and if somebody picks somebody else to introduce who they are, and probably answer one question: why parks, culture, and recreation? So then, why don't I start? So I'm the chair of the Park Recreation and Culture Committee. This is what, my third year doing this. It has become a labor of love to try to provide, to give back to this community in this position, trying to make sure the parks are safe for everyone, especially our children. And a little word about me: I'm a retired teacher, 39.5 years working with the city, 35 years as a teacher. I had a background, I work for Administration for Children's Services. I'm a chemistry teacher from Brooklyn College. So this is what I want to say about me. And I'm looking forward we could get a lot of things done this year. So just one more thing. I like short meetings, so I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. Okay. So why don't I pass it to Julia, and then she'll pass it to the next person. And why Park Recreation and Culture? That's
all. Hi, everybody. Welcome to all the new people, and welcome to all the people who are coming back. The reasons why I picked this committee is that green spaces are particularly important to people of color and communities that are impacted by poverty. And sometimes a green space is the only refuge that a young person or any person might have. And culture is also part of this. And it is always awesome to me how many culture institutes are within walking distance of this district. And I'm going to switch it to Nomi. Yes. Naima.
Thank you, Julia. My name is Naima Wood, and this is the second year that I've participated on this committee, and I'm so happy to be here. And the reason why I chose this committee is because I own an art gallery in this community. It's Dorsey's Fine Art Gallery. And I want to make sure that all members of the community know that the gallery is here and exists for you. And I want to make sure that you participate in this art gallery and come see fine art. So it's opening this month, and we'll actually be participating in the PLG Art Fest. So I know Hollis is here and he'll tell us more about that, but I'd like to see all of your smiling faces participate in the Art Fest and come by the art gallery to see what we've done. So now I'm going to pass it on to Brenda.
We can't hear you, sweetheart.
I just unmuted myself so everybody can hear me now. All right. So good evening, everybody. I'm Brenda. I am, like Nicholas, a former teacher working with the Board of Education for about 28 years. Retired a few years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, something like that. And now I am here because I love my neighborhood. I love all the culture that is available in my neighborhood, but I didn't even realize there was so much more available. And if I, enjoying it, didn't know there was much, much more available, I can only imagine how many other people don't know what's available to them. Free, inexpensive arts, culture, recreation and hoping that we're going to find ways to spread the word to more people of color that not only is it here, but it is here and you're welcome to take part in it. It is here for you. You can enjoy it. So that's why I'm here on Parks, Recreation, and Culture. And I will pass it on to whoever. I see a name, David, here. David's
Yes. Yes, David is here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see you, David. We love to see you.
Yes. For some reason they're saying that they can't activate my camera. Anyhow, I've been on this committee for some years now before the pandemic. And my reason for joining this committee is basically to get more assistance to the kids in our neighborhood. I've been involved with, basketball and some others with our kids for many, many, many years. And we always seem to get shortchanged. Nicholas could tell you that, when we go to our parks, the facility is not the best. We seem to be forgotten. Our backboards, they stopped making them since 1984, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm trying to see how I could help improve that situation, because my playing days is done. So we want these kids to be able to, get a total experience and also to be introduced to all the arts, as the former speakers were saying. There is so much in our community that we don't know about. So that's my role here. And I would pass it on to Daniel.
Hi, everybody. My name is Daniel Abram. I'll be doing a presentation a little bit later on. I'm actually not part of the Parks Committee. I'm a part of New Yorkers for Parks, which is an advocacy organization citywide, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. But just to say why I started this work, just because I recognize the importance of green spaces and open spaces to, as someone mentioned earlier, Black and Brown communities. And then also to just generally citywide. New York City is such a unique place, and our parks and open spaces are our backyards for 8.5 million people. So it's important that we care for them, and it's great to be here with you all tonight.
Pick somebody.
Sorry, I forgot to pick somebody. I will pass it to Hollis.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Good evening.
Yes, we can.
I'm Hollis Hedrick. I'm the co-president of PLG Arts. That's why I'm here tonight. And thanks to Nicholas for asking me to talk. Usually I appear with my counterpart. That's Rena Klieg, who's the other co-president of PLG Arts, and I know she's presented to this committee as well. I'll talk a bit about the PLG Arts Fest coming up on the 30th, but just my own background, I've lived in Brooklyn as long as I've been in New York, which has been 1980, and in this neighborhood, Prospect Lefferts Gardens, for about 20 years. And I've been affiliated with PLG Arts for a long time. And as you probably know, we produce all kinds of free arts events all over the neighborhood. And my own background is I'm a musician. I've played all over the world. I just finished up a big education project last year with the Apollo up in Harlem and performed for students up there. And as well, I'm an arts administrator. I have my own practice now as an arts consultant. But for a number of years, I worked at the New York State Council on the Arts. And my last full-time job as an administrator was as head of education at Carnegie Hall. So I've had a really broad range of experience, and I'm trying to bring that experience to benefit our neighborhood through all of the arts activities that PLG Arts sponsors. So that's why I'm here. And thanks again, Nicholas, for asking me to present tonight. And I'm not sure, is there anybody else on our list? On our,
Courtenay,
What's the list?
Courtenay.
oh, okay.
All
I'll
right,
turn it
but
to
we have
you.
one more person here who's
I
sharing
only
the
see a
screen
phone
with
number,
me.
so.
So why don't you introduce yourself, David?
Oh, my name is David Walters. I'm a member here. I'm the product of the Lefferts Manor. I've been living in the Lefferts Manor for the last, I guess, almost 50 years. So I've watched the progress that has taken place over the years. However, I noticed that the Black and Brown community, which is left here in the Prospect Lefferts Garden area, needs to be more educated on the opportunities that exist within the Community Board 9, and I'm just here to help them, including myself, to take advantage of what is here that they have not been able to obtain in the past by being able to participate in various venues within the Prospect Lefferts Gardens community.
Okay, I stepped away. I don't know if Courtney did introduce herself. I might have missed that. Did we get Courtney yet?
Nope, I didn't yet. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, everybody. Welcome back and welcome to the new people. This is my second year on the committee. And I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on. Every time I turn it on, it's freezing. So I'd rather hear you than have you see me. But the reason I'm on this committee is because I am an artist, and I also think that parks, culture, and arts are the things that make our community vibrant. So I really am excited to get started on this next year on the committee and participate in all the great things we're going to do. So thank you, and I'm happy to be here, excited. Did Celeste introduce herself?
Nope, I'm next. Thanks, Courtney.
right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Celeste Chase. I'm a board member just from last year, and I'm back this year. So this committee is new to me, but I look forward to working with all of you, and particularly under Nicholas' leadership. And I'm so happy to see Naomi. I may have mispronounced your name, but I recently was at Dorsey Art Gallery, I guess that last spring, when Arthur O'Neill had his exhibit. So I look forward to participating and also to make sure that people in the community know about programs and also some of the free events, because even going to botanical gardens, Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, there are community passes. So I just want to make sure that we're disseminating that information to the community. So thanks, everyone.
Also, Naima, did somebody pass introduce
She went.
Naima?
Yeah, I
She went
spoke
already?
Yes, she did.
All
Yes.
right, so we have to step out and let David in, so I missed that. So is there anybody else?
All right, so John St. Bernard.
Go ahead, John. On the phone. Go ahead.
Yes,
John.
right. So John St. Bernard. I am a resident of the neighborhood, obviously. I'm part of the Lincoln Road Garden, which is between Nostrand and Rogers. I've been there about 5 years. Prior to that, I was at Maple Street Garden, which is also between Nostrand and Rogers. My interest in becoming more involved in the community is that prior to retiring, obviously I didn't have the time, but now that I have the time is really to, again, as many of the other people have said, is make our residents, because this neighborhood is changing rapidly, make the residents aware of all the different activities that are in the neighborhood that they could become involved with, and get to know your new neighbors. This year I started doing the greenest block. We did between Nostrand and Rogers. We got a little citation. So that's some encouragement for moving forward for the next campaign. And just in general, as a person that's been in Brooklyn since 1970, I migrated from the Caribbean in 1970. And this has been my neighborhood throughout that entire time, including college, getting married, getting divorced, and being back in this neighborhood. So it's a very, very good neighborhood. And I just wanted to lend my expertise of being in the neighborhood for such a long time. And this is my first time actually being part of this organization. and I want to thank Nicholas for tabbing me to get involved. I'm not
Hey,
sure who I
Nick.
can pass it to because I'm not sure of all the other names, but whoever didn't speak, and this is your chance.
Is there anybody else? Let me see. No, I think I have a CC. I don't know what CC is.
That was
Celeste,
Celeste.
she went.
That was Celeste Chase. Okay.
Yes.
And I think that's everyone. All right, so I'm gonna move to the next point on the agenda, the CB9 rule and procedure for committees. I'm not going to go through it, but I think this is something very important for us to cover as a committee because it set up the framework from which we're going to work. So I'm going to switch over to this presentation. I'm not going to go through all those slides. It's a short presentation. This was a document that was prepared by the community board done in August of 22. It covers how we proceed as a committee, as a board. So the rules of order, we follow Robert's rule. It covers information of open meeting law. I think all of you guys have probably received this. If not, I will send it to anyone who's interested. And tell you a little bit what community are, where they come from. And I think one of the things we really get hung is the open meetings law, because we are a city agency. We have to be completely transparent based on the law of the city charter. And attendance and quorum, 50% +1. So we have a list of people already in this committee, so we'll be for that. After this, we're going to be taking roll call to see if we meet quorum before started. And we have 10 standing committee. This is for the whole board. So public hearing and town hall, we can do that, and also the whole board. And then, so this information, most of you will be able, if you don't have it, I don't want to go to how we conduct the meeting before, during, and after, and so on and so forth. So I'm going Paladin's procedure debate. So, and now some resources. So this is I wanted to just highlight it, but you could look at it much further. And these are the same rule that provide the total board for their meetings, the same rule that really govern this particular committee. With that, let's go back to the agenda. And I would love to now to introduce Mr. Abram from New York Campus Park.
Nicholas. And Nicholas, are you able to allow me to share my screen here?
Sure. Khalil, would you? Yes. Now you close. You go ahead.
There we go. Just a second. And like Nicholas, I also appreciate a quick presentation, so I will not keep you all very long. Hi, everybody. My name is Daniel Abram. I am the project manager of research and policy at New Yorkers for Parks. I'm here to talk to you all today about our organization, our advocacy, and our advocacy for New York City parks. We are the only independent citywide organization that advocates for quality parks and open spaces for all New Yorkers. And we do that through organizational partnerships, advocacy, and research as our three main kind of working arms. We started the Play Fair Coalition, which has over 400 organizations, nonprofit organizations, friends of groups, volunteer groups, and other open space and parks advocates. It was founded by the New York League of Conservation Voters, DC 37, and the City Council Parks Chair, Councilmember Shekhar Krishnan, who has been a great champion of the work that we've done over the last 100 years or so. And we hold rallies, we organize petition drives, and we help address park needs in some of the most vulnerable communities. Our main focus, these are our Play Fair members. Our main focus since about 2001 has been the call for 1% of the city's budget for the Parks Department. We put out the 1% for Parks Impact Report to detail what 1% would mean for the Parks Department and what it would mean for New Yorkers. And we also developed, you can see on the right there, open space profiles that review the opportunities for open space for every community board, which I'll be happy to share with you all your community board open space profile after this presentation. But I'm here today to ask this community board to stand with us in our call for 1% of the city's operating budget and explain why 1% of the city's budget for the Parks Department is necessary for New York City. The last time the Parks Department, just go into a little bit of history of where this 1% numbers comes from. The last time the Parks Department received more than 1% of the city budget was during the 1960s. Since 1978, the Parks Department has been funded below 1% of the city's budget, and the city has operated under an austerity mindset for the Parks Department for over 50 years now. And I say the Parks Department specifically because when we look at city budgets, at agency budgets, since 1980, the Parks Department is the only frontline agency budget that has not kept up with city growth and the growth of the expense budget. You can see the growth of the expense budget has been 127% since 1980. Every other major frontline agency, and when I say frontline, I mean agencies that provide very clear services that when they're not done, you can see the effect. Every other agency has grown by at least the same amount. The Parks Department has only grown by 72% during that same time. New York City also spends the least among major cities as a proportion of the city budget on its parks. For a city like Minneapolis, where many residents have access to a private backyard, 5.3% of their budget is allocated to their parks. And despite having 6 times less acreage than New York City, parks acreage than New York City, New York City is among the lowest in major cities in spending on care for our public spaces. And as I mentioned earlier, these spaces act as our backyard for 8.5 million people. For many people in Minneapolis, they have access to a private backyard. For most people in New York, they don't have access to a private backyard. And so if Minneapolis can go as high as 5.3% and New York City sits at 0.6% of the budget today, I think New York City can reach 1%, because not only are we a larger city, we have the largest budget in the nation, we also have the most park acres among major cities in the US. And this lack of investment in the Parks Department has had real life impacts for New Yorkers. Since 1976, the Parks Department has lost over 1,000 workers, but the population has grown by over 1 million. The projected population for 2024 is 8.7 million. We're at about 8.5, 8.6 right now. But in recent history, and so for 2024, the parks workers staffing numbers are expected to be at about 8,043, which is a little over 1,000 less than they were in 1976. So we're getting a lot less for our dollar here in New York right now. To give a further sense of what this means for staffing, New York City has 1 gardener for every 114 acres of parkland. San Francisco and Chicago have 1 gardener for every 18 acres of parkland. So we are definitely behind in major US cities. And it's something that it's unreasonable to think that 1 gardener could care for 114 acres effectively, and actually be able to make that a beautiful and enjoyable space to be in. It's just simply not possible or reasonable. And the 1% of the city's budget would also support funding recreation center staff. So I'm not sure how many rec centers that this community board has, but as you can see here, rec center funding has gone down from 56 million in 1978, which is adjusted for inflation, to about 34 million today. And we're seeing nearly half of the staffing for rec centers. And so rec centers, instead of being these community centers and community places for community engagement and involvement, they're kind of operating like gyms in a lot of community boards. and it's just kind of it's a disservice to what our communities could really be when we expect our communities to be vibrant, civic, enjoyable places for all of us to be, and not just kind of a YMCA. And so to kind of further exemplify why we're not asking for very much right now, the parks budget is at about $618 million. And NYPD overtime spending, which is not typically budgeted for, it's just spending, has gone beyond that mark. And so we're asking for essentially the change in the city's couch from the mayor's office. And it would be about $340 million roughly to get to the $1 billion budget, which would be 1% of the city's budget. And ultimately, 1% of the city's budget would mean these things. It would mean a modern park system, clean and safe parks, faster repairs and quicker addressing of maintenance needs, full access to the 10,000 acres of natural areas that we have in New York City, protected and maintained wetlands to guarantee waterfront health, maintained trees that provide relief and protect from recent heat increases that we're sure to see going forward. A New York City agency that people want to be a part of that allows for growth and retention and safety for workers who are currently working under conditions that are unbearable on a day-to-day basis. As I mentioned, the one gardener for 114 acres, or the roughly 250 PEP officers for 30,000 acres of parkland, really just kind of makes them ineffective. All of this said, we do have and so we also want to support the spaces that naturally provide public health, environmental health, and economic health benefits. Park health is a perfect indicator of the overall health of the city. If people enjoy being outside, then the city is doing well. As we saw during COVID, the Parks Department was relied on heavily. Those open spaces were relied on heavily. And we saw what happened when you cut the Parks Department budget, and those parks deteriorated very quickly. All of this said, we do have the mayor's promise of 1%. We've just not seen the follow through yet. We have the support of the city council as well, with no council members saying that they do not support 1%. All council members that we have asked have either said yes or they have said nothing. And so we have 44 council members in support of 1% of the city's budget. And so now we are moving to getting the support of all of the community boards across New York City. And you all can, we also have, we'd also love for you all to join our growing list of 10,000 petition signatures asking for 1% of the city's budget for the Parks Department. Again, asking for the mayor to follow through on his promise, his campaign promise of 1% of the Parks Department, 1% of the city budget for the Parks Department. And so you all can support our cause by drafting a letter of support, signing and sharing the petition in your community as well, and attending rallies with us. We'd love to. It's great to see you all here virtually, but it's also great to see people in person. And as Nicholas said, kind of put faces to names or faces to heights in some cases. It would be great to see you all at rallies as well. And so today it would also be a great help if you all would draft a letter, or at least vote on a resolution today to draft a letter to send to the mayor's office asking for 1% of the city's budget. And if you all need help drafting a letter, I'm more than happy to assist. We have a couple of templates. We also have a few community boards that have already given us letters and resolutions in support of this ask. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them at this time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, go ahead, Julia.
So I'm not understanding how your organization is different from the Central Park Alliance or the Prospect Park Alliance?
Right.
What's the difference there?
So Prospect Park Alliance and Central Park Conservancy are both, they're actually maintenance and care organizations. Central Park, they're unique in the sense that Prospect Park Alliance, not every park of the 1,700 parks in New York City has an alliance or a conservancy to take care of or pick up the slack where the Parks Department is unable to. And so Central Park and Prospect Park, these are our premier parks in New York City, and they also receive a lot of private funding. But a smaller park in Brooklyn or a smaller park in Queens or in the Bronx doesn't get as much attention because there is no community organization that is taking care of these spaces. Our organization is specifically a research and advocacy organization. We are in a position to advocate to the mayor and to the city council for the Parks Department's needs, where the Parks Department can't necessarily say, hey, we need 1% of the city's budget. They can't necessarily advocate for themselves for that in the same way that we can. And so
okay.
Go ahead.
So my follow-up question then is, so like a park like the Betty Carter Park that's outside of BAM, it doesn't have anybody except for you guys.
So it's not that it doesn't have us. It's not that it has us, it's that they only have the Parks Department to care for it. But because it's a small pocket park, that's a park that probably gets visited maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And so if there is a maintenance issue that is ongoing, what the Parks Department does now currently is mobile crews. And so those mobile crews go from park to park and are moving very quickly. They're removing trash, they're addressing whatever needs they can see readily. But if there's a maintenance issue there that has been ongoing for multiple weeks, it takes them longer to get to that.
Okay.
And it may even take longer to notice that. And so 1% of the city budget would allow for additional parks workers for that park or other parks around it to get the same level of care that a Prospect Park or a Central Park receives, because those parks have private money that is supporting their green spaces.
It's very helpful. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Because what I like to say, based on the kind of project I'm been thinking about for this park, that would really work right into that, because we had a subgroup of this committee has been going around, and we did an assessment of all the park in CB9, and we have some recommendation. So you're a good organization that we can partner with to help us develop presentations, so we could advocate to the local elected of whatever the needs are in this particular park. Not only the elected, but also to the Parks Department. So we could say if we have a situation, so we could be an advocate or a pressure group that would say, let's clean up the stuff.
Right.
Okay, so in the interest of time, so I don't know if anybody had a question. So if we don't have any more questions, we're going to move to the next topic.
So sorry, really quickly, if you all would like to pass a resolution, maybe not right now, or with the larger community board group to draft a letter, Nicholas, I can send you the templates for that language. You all can make it your own. But if you all are in agreement of allocating 1% of the city's budget to the Parks Department, yes, please take that to your larger community board and have them draft a letter, or you all can draft a letter on your own, up to you.
No, I think if anybody else but me, I'm going to put a motion so we have a resolution toward that 1%. And definitely, and also have some idea is to have, and part of the resolution is to have your petition available at every board meeting. So we have a 10-board meeting to listen. So these are the things, but because today is our first meeting, it's a lot of what you might call it. We got a lot of organizing work to do today. But if we don't get the resolution this meeting, definitely by next meeting we'll try to cover all that. Okay.
Sounds great. I will send along those materials.
David, do you have a deadline?
We are trying to get letters by the end of the year from every community board. Well, myself and our organization is a very small team. We're a team of 4. I'm one of 4, so you're looking at 25% of the organization right now. Yeah, so we are working on having these meetings and presentations with all of the community boards, and we are working our way through, hoping to get letters by the end of the year to submit to the mayor's office.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for the time. Great seeing you all, and hope to chat with you all soon.
Yes, sir. But if you have the time, welcome to see some of our plan. Maybe you could be very helpful for the rest of the meeting. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So let's switch over to our public commentary section. Okay, I'm going to present my screen to introduce PLG Arts.
You have the flyer I sent, Nicholas?
Yes, I'm about to put the flyer up.
Great, thank you.
Hold on, I want to stop sharing for a moment and go to the flyer. I keep thinking it was a PM. It was a PDF. I'll go here. Share screen. Share, and there we go.
Aha, thank you. Well, thanks again for inviting us to speak, and you know, it's really an opportune time because we're sponsoring our 3rd kind of Arts Fest. A year ago, or actually last summer in June, we had our first outdoor Arts Fest, and then we followed that last March with what we call the Spring Arts Fair, and that took place at Brooklyn Commons on Flatbush. So we're kind of been going back and forth between both sides of Prospect Lefferts Garden. So we're really happy that this coming 2 weeks from tomorrow on the 30th, we'll be having our 2nd outdoor PLG Arts Fest. And it's like all of our events, totally free. This is supported, this year we're really lucky, from Brian Cunningham and also from the Brooklyn Arts Council. So we're really happy to have this extra support, which allows us to organize this. Like our previous speaker, PLG Arts is a very small, not-for-profit local organization. We have no staff, we have no space. Everything is really operated by our board members. Right now, we have 7 board members. And we're always looking for new board members who really feel that arts and culture in our neighborhood really improve the quality of life and would like to work on those dimensions. So basically, and I want to leave some time to answer your questions, we have this year 40 artists, visual artists. We have 18 different businesses and 17 homes in PLG who are participating. So the artists will be showing their work outside. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. We do have some locations inside. And so everyone that comes to the event has the opportunity to chat with artists, to buy work, to find out the interests of these artists and all about their work, very similar to what we did last year. Many of the artists that showed both at the Arts Fair and the Arts Fest sold a lot of work and also had an opportunity to network. One of the things that many of us spoke about earlier in our introductions was the fact that there isn't an opportunity for all of us to network and for artists and organizations in our neighborhood here to network with one another and find out what we're all doing. And this in part is a way to do that. So our goal is really to provide an opportunity for artists to meet the community and for the community to interact with artists and purchase their work if they so choose, but also to visit the businesses, which will be all along from trying to think where we're starting from, all along Rogers and Nostrand, from Sterling to Hawthorne, and then we'll have a number of residences from Bedford over, most of them over to Rogers. So there'll be a whole range of different kinds of artists that are showing their work in many different mediums. So it's really kind of a walking tour of the neighborhood at the same time. We're also going to have music this year in 3 locations. We've got hip hop at Blue Nook, which is a new restaurant and bar on the corner of Rutland and Rogers, down across from Zonmi. We'll have an Afro-pop group, and up at the CBD business on the corner of Lefferts and Rogers, we're going to have a jazz and rock group. So families have the ability to walk through and listen to music, visit with the artists, find out what they're doing, interact, and hopefully get to know these different businesses and then visit them. Some of them will be open for business. Some of them won't be open until the evening, but it's a way for the neighborhood to familiarize themselves with the different organizations. Where our PLG Arts table will be set up on the corner of Rogers and Fenimore, right near the Sugarcane and Cotton Gallery, and also very near Dorsey's Gallery, where Naima will be. And then we're having family art making at Sugarcane and Cotton Gallery. So families that bring their kids and go take advantage of meeting with artists can also make their own art at Sugarcane and Cotton. They've opened up the gallery for us and have the ability for families to come in and out. So very appreciative of that. And also we hope it's an opportunity for the neighborhood to be reintroduced to Dorsey's Gallery. And I know Naima has spent a lot of time imagining how the gallery will operate now, since she's taken it over and has refurbished the inside. So we're hoping that there will also be a lot of folks who visit that. So in front of all these businesses will be the artists showing their work. They may be under canopies, they may have their work on easels, but it's a real, very friendly way to engage with artists in the community and to find out what's going on. And hopefully, purchase some work if they so desire. And families, as I said earlier, will have the opportunity to make art if they so choose and to hear great music all along the route. So that's kind of the overview of it. And it really is about our mission to make the arts, all the discipline of all the arts, this particular one focuses primarily on visual arts, available to audience of all ages in our community. Everything that PLG Arts does is free, so there is no barrier to entry. And we've done family projects at the library over in New York Avenue. We've done a number of programs over at Parkside Plaza. As I mentioned, we had the arts fair at Brooklyn Commons. So there's a whole range of kinds of projects that we do over the year. And this is kind of one of the major ones. And we hope that you all will attend. And if anyone is so inclined, we're looking for volunteers to help us staff this and visit some of these locations and make sure the artists have all of their work set up and are ready. And this will be operating from 12 to 5 on Saturday September 30th. So we hope to see you there. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have or any thoughts you have about it. And thank you again for Nicholas for asking us to, share the information about the Arts Fest.
Any question? I'm going to make sure that we have this in email blast that will come this Friday and the Friday before that. That goes out from the CB9 office.
Okay.
And
Nicholas, if you could just, you said you're going to send it tomorrow?
yes, tomorrow.
Okay.
So as of tonight, it will be sent, so it'll be included into the blast.
Okay,
that
I
goes
will
out
send
Friday.
you, I'll send you an updated flyer like this that has more information on it.
Okay, great.
And also I should say that one of the things that's very cool about this is you can come to the PLG Arts table at Fenimore and Rogers and pick up a map, but also once we get our posters distributed and we get the all the details finalized, meaning the locations of the artists and their locations, there'll be a QR code. And if you scan that QR code, it will open up an interactive map on your phone. And on your phone, you can see the route and all the different locations in the neighborhood. And when you touch on one of the locations, it will also show you who the artist is and what their medium is and what kind of art they have to show, whether that's abstract painting, whether that's prints, whether it's sculpture, whether it's ceramics. So that's another thing that's really wonderful about it, is having this interactive map. And that map is not quite ready yet because there are just a lot of moving parts. There's different, so many different locations, and some of those are being finalized as we speak. But I hope we all see you there.
Are there any questions?
Can I ask just one quick question?
Sure.
Do you have the times for the different bands that you mentioned?
We do. I don't have them in front of me this minute, but they essentially overlap from 12 to 2, and then 2 to 4, and then also 4 to 5. And they kind of go from north to south. So the jazz group, jazz and pop group, is up on the corner of Lefferts and Rogers first. And then the Afro pop group is at Market Bar across the street from Zanmi. And they are from 2:30 to 4:30, I think. And then overlapping with them is a group called Straight Out of Brooklyn. And they do hip hop and DJ. And that's going to be at Blue Nook on the corner of Rogers and Rutland, right next to the Camillo restaurant.
Thank you. Will be in the flyer, those details are in the interactive.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's all going to be updated on the website as soon as we have everything finalized, just in the next few days.
I want to thank Hollis again, and I just want to outline Hollis. I and a couple of members of this committee, we started to work on a mural project, which we're going to pick up again. So hopefully with all the new people we have, we'll introduce them to the project so we could, they've been working with this committee for the last year or so.
Yes, Nicholas, let's make sure we talk about that mural project, because we may have some resources to put toward that this coming year, because we have some additional funding from Brian Cunningham.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. All right, we'll follow up. Absolutely, we will.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to meet you. And we hope to see you on the 30th.
Yeah,
Thank
I know
you.
you have to leave, as you say, a short time, so then we'll be in touch.
Okay, thanks so much. I'll
Okay,
see
thank
you, Naima. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
My best to Lena.
I'll tell her. Thanks, Nicholas.
Okay. Then. Oh, oh no. Let's move on to the next agenda item. I should have kept my screen shared. So let's go back. to
Nicholas, are we
that.
still in public comment?
Yes, we are. I'm about to stop it. If you have one, this is the time. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to, well, I have, the first thing that I have is about public comment is that I'm very concerned about the reconstruction of the redesign of the Vale in Prospect Park. And I just want to be on the record that people who went tonight from actually my family members just went to go to do the birding, and because the birds are coming in from, or I guess they're going south. They were at the Vale, and because there's so many DJs and noise, you could not do any birding. And we need to be mindful that the Vale is supposed to be an area that's really quiet, and it's supposed to be redesigned so that the children's pond will help the birds get water on their way south. No birds are going to be in there because hip hop and birding are not coexisting. So I'm not quite sure who, I guess I will also address this to the Prospect Park Alliance people. And if there's somebody who's a coordinator, who's coordinating with Prospect Park Alliance, please mention that to them, that there's a problem with noise in the Vale.
Julia, this is Courtenay. Is this like there's events going on in that space, or?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
They came home and said that there was a party in the Vale, and
Yes.
the birders were like, so little old ladies going to the Vale to listen to go look at the birds at twilight were met with some kind of event, as the old people said, some kind of riffraff was happening up in there. So
Okay.
it was, no, what did my grandmother would say? Some kind of nonsense was going on up in there. And if Prospect Park Alliance is telling us that they want to redesign so that the Vale is, for the birds, for the birding people, then they need to mind their beeswax and watch out for what other. They're allowing some kind of disc jockeying, DJing to go on in there at the same time. The reason why I'm so animated about it is this is particularly the time when birds are migrating. So it doesn't matter in the summer. You can do that in the summer. But when the birds are migrating, they're exhausted. They look for Prospect Park as the hotel motel on the way south. They're getting water, they're getting little seeds, they're getting a little grass. They're not going to do it if, there's a lot of noise up in there.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah, I also am aware because I was sitting out with some neighbors a few days ago, and one of the neighbors spoke about it being a gathering place for people. Instead of going to the club or the bar, they were going to the Vale, where they were gathering and finding a good group of people to hang out with. So I think it has to be made clear to everyone that there are certain times for the public to have the space for picnicking and partying, and other times that it's not good for people to come in with partying and whatever is going on. But I think it's been discovered by some local folk and they like the area. So it needs to be made clear what the area is for and when, and who can use it and how it can be used. Otherwise, it's Prospect Park.
Okay, Nicholas.
Is it possible for them to get?
thank you for
Go ahead.
bringing this to our attention because I was not aware of that. And I thank whoever is going to be our representative, Prospect Park Alliance, and myself will definitely make them aware of what's happening. And because they have that money that was given by the last administration, let's make it. And then they wanted to really restore it, to keep it what it was. Because as part of Prospect Park, that's one of the areas you feel like when you're inside the veil, you are somewhere else. So so this is something.
Yeah, a club.
Yes. Okay. All right. Any more public commentary?
So my question is, I sent pictures about Jackie Robinson Park and the construction that's going on. Does that constitute new business or does that constitute?
Yeah, that may be new business. I myself, when I got the
Okay.
picture to look at it, let's pick it up on new business because at this
Okay,
point, I
I'm
think
fine.
that the particular process is going, so we could get started, get an agenda. So we are, from what I'm seeing, based on the commentary, there's a lot more stuff we're going to have to tackle as a committee for Park Recreation and Culture. Okay, so let's move on. So let's move on to nomination and election of vice chair and recording secretary. So I'd like to open the floor for nominations. Let's start with vice chair. Is there anybody interested in becoming a vice chair? The only requirement, you have to be a board member for vice chair. And for recording secretary, it could be anybody.
Hi, Nicholas.
Okay.
Tonight, I'd be interested in vice chair.
Okay. Are there anybody else interested?
What are the responsibilities for the vice chair, Nicholas?
Well, the vice chair is to conduct the meeting when I'm not available. And for that reason, that person has to be a board member, not a resident board member. So I think our board members are Courtney. Let me see, I have a list. And I don't think there was 2 more people that was there. I don't think they're in this meeting. I think the only board members we have there is myself, Courtney, and Celeste. Is there anybody else that's a board member that here? Okay. Seeing none,
The nominations be closed.
let's move that nomination be closed. Okay. So let me put it in motion. The motion is Courtney Loisel has volunteered to become our vice chair. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been properly seconded by Julia. Are there any, what's the word? All in favor, notify by saying aye. We could do the voice vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody, any opposed? Any opposed? Any opposed? Seeing none, any abstention? And we say by unanimous consent, Courtney Loisel is again our vice chair for this current fiscal year. So congratulations, Courtney. We're looking forward to work with you again this year. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, so let's move on to, right, okay. Let's move into recording secretary. This is my preference, but I'll go with the group. I like to, it would good if we have a secretary and a backup. So I would like to open the invitation for recording secretary. Recording secretary could be anybody. Go ahead, Julia. You volunteer to become recording.
I'll volunteer as the primary. I need a secondary.
So, is there anybody interested in becoming a secondary? Whenever, if Julia is not able to make it.
If this is allowed, I'm willing to be the secondary.
Well, I think you should be able to do two positions at the same time. Yes. Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none. So, recording secretary and backup, let me make a motion for the group to approve Julia Bryant as primary recording secretary and Courtney Loisel as a backup. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is seconded by David Walters. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed,
Aye.
say no. All opposed, say no. Any abstention? Seeing none. So let's be recorded that our recording secretary and backup are Courtney Loisel. I'm sorry, Julia Bryant and Courtney Loisel. So let's the minutes reflect that. So since this is being recorded. Okay. So very good. So let's move on to the next part. Let's go back. I think we should have a discussion of park and cultural liaison selection. So I'm gonna go to a little graphics here. So I have this graphics here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me make it a little bigger. As I was thinking about this meeting.
One more time.
One more time. Okay.
Yep, we don't
I
have
can
it.
see the middle, but I can't see the center at the sides. Okay, good. That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's a park recreation, and these are the various areas where we are working in. One of them is visual arts, community garden, Prospect Park Alliance, sports, performance arts, neighborhood parks and playground. For each of some of these have institution attached to them, and that's why I have these empty boxes. So if you could think of any other institution that we could add. So let's see if we could fill this out and see what we could add. For example, for community garden, we have basically 3 community gardens, right? In this area. So we have Lincoln, Maple Street, and Union Street Community Garden. So, and this will probably, we would like to what I'd like to propose is that we have representative for at least from each of those. I think Ms. Briggs, I don't know what happened, is interested in that. I'd like for this group to constitute a group that would work on the issues and events at those community gardens. So you have Union, okay, Maple, and Lincoln, right? The goal is, I think we have members of the committee that belong to each of these gardens already. So these people would suggest that they would form together as a subgroup or a subcommittee that would bring to us what's happening in the community garden. If there are any event that's being planned or any initiative for those gardens, we will do that. In terms of visual arts, we have basically the Brooklyn Museum. I'm a bad typist, guys, don't mind me. And this is misspelled anyway. I'm one of the worst typists there is too. And can you suggest any other arts organization? We have PLG Arts, which is one of those groups that's there. Are there any other organization that you would like to suggest?
Would this include galleries and stuff, Nicholas?
Correct.
So we have the Dorsey Gallery, and we have Gallery Particular.
You're saying Dorsey? I'm sorry. What else?
Gallery I think it's particular. I don't know how they pronounce it. I feel it's a little fancier than particular, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. What Gallery Particular?
Yes.
Where's Gallery Particular?
Why is that?
It's on Maple Street, and they allow people to borrow art to take home, like for limited times. I saw them at the community fair. Sounds like pretty cool.
Not allow me to. Anything else? I'll expand this.
There's Sugarcane and Cotton Gallery, which is on Rogers and Fenimore, directly across the street from Dorsey's.
Dorsey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You said Sugarcane?
Yeah, it's called Sugarcane and Cotton.
Sugarcane and Cotton. Okay.
Nicholas, I think if you pump on the corners, you can make.
I'm trying to expand. It's not responding the way before, so you guys, this should be expanded. I don't know, because I'm sharing, it's not allowing me to do that. I don't know. But I'll keep writing. But when I finish this one, any other places? Because what I'm suggesting, we get somebody will be a point person for each of these type of activities.
There's another one, Nicholas. I'm not particularly familiar with it, but I've walked by it. It's
I'm sharing for a moment to see what happened. Okay, go ahead.
It's called the Betzalel Gallery, and I just looked it up. It's Judaic art on Empire and Brooklyn Ave.
Which one is it?
Can you spell?
Yeah, it's B like boy, E-T, Z like zebra, A-L-E-L.
Bethel? B-E?
Betzalel.
Betzalel?
Betzalel. Yeah, that's probably the Hebraic pronunciation, Betzalel.
There's a Z in there?
Yes.
Yes. B-E-T-Z-A-L-E-L.
B-T-Z-A-L.
Yeah. Courtney, are you sure it's like one word? Because I bet you it's Betzalel.
It's probably Betzalel.
It looks like it, but you might be right. I can't be sure.
Is that
I actually had Hebrew. I took Hebrew as a child, so I think that might be where we're going.
This is not a complete list, but we could always come back and extend this. The whole idea is to identify those arts institutions, and just so we could create liaison for them. Okay. So that's what I wanted to do. In terms of neighborhood parks, we have
Nicholas.
What happened?
Stop sharing.
Oh, I stopped sharing. Yes, I did indeed.
Did that help when you stopped sharing? Did your screen get better?
No, it still didn't work, so I don't know what happened. And
Julia, stop. Julia, you need to stop.
We're soon gonna
I
deal
don't
with
know what happened. I'll figure it out.
David, we need to
More
keep
or less,
this
I want
light,
to
okay?
complete this perfectly this schematic. So maybe because it's too big, that's probably why it's not allowing me to do that. Yeah.
Nicholas, just keep working. This is really quite lovely. This is very fancy. I'm very impressed. Keep going.
Oh, okay. In our neighborhood parks. So we have me, David, and the two David have visited all the parks last year. And we made 2 visits where we have developed a park assessment tool. And we also did a visit with the Brooklyn commissioner to show all the problem with the park. So this is something we want to continue. And for each of these, and I think what we would want for this activity is to really have CB9 sponsor a conference with all the other parks and recreation committees throughout Brooklyn. I would love for CB9 to host that. We would like to do an event so we could compare notes and find what best practices to maintain our park and provide the best possible experience for people in our community. And I think that's the, so I know I have David Walters and David Romeo that are interested still in that area. So we're gonna do, we'll put the list of the parks.
My suggestion is you write C existing park list.
Okay,
Right.
let's do that.
Right.
what happened to that young lady who was from the Parks Department, who met with us once, maybe twice. Last year, she came to the meetings. She was supposed to be VAs. I don't know if it was Park Department or Green Thumb, someone that was supposed to be a help to us. I don't remember her name.
I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about Alexandra. I am somewhat in contact with her, and then one of the plans is for her to come to the meeting to address, to let us know what's happening in the parks. She's the area manager for Community Board 8 and 9. And I think this is something we should try to do for next meeting, because that's part of her job, to attend Community Board meeting. So I'm gonna reach out to her to see when she could come and make a visit.
And I make a suggestion. You make just one suggestion to her to come and find out who her supervisor is and ask, why is she not coming? Because she's not absent. She's not absent once. She's absent like 6 times. She came once
last year, so I don't know.
She came once last year. She had a lot to say. She had a lot to say. Oh, she was here to help us and not to be seen of again. And I suspect that that is not the scheduling that her supervisor has for her. And if it isn't, we need to know.
Our supervisor is the board commissioner, Mr. Mayor, which we've met with. We could always reach out to him in his office, and we did establish some connection with him and his chief of staff.
Okay, my point is we've already had a problem. Let's cut to the chase. Let's not play around. You know, we actually only have 9 more meetings, right? We don't go all summer, and we only meet once a month.
Right.
So if we play nice, we will not see her till December, and it will be over.
Well, then what we can task to do is to ask her to come next month. That's why I would love to see her next month.
Okay.
So we can resolve to have her come next month as part of our meeting.
Got it.
Okay.
What we need to determine is what is her function, and is she actually going to be assisting in some real way? Her presence is lovely, but
it's
not
talking about this park situation. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah.
Celeste has her hand up.
Yeah.
Celeste,
she had her hand up way before everybody.
Yes. I'm sorry, Celeste.
Okay. All right. So I'm trying to be patient. So the thing I do remember, I came to the meeting, I think when the parks representative came last year, but it seems to me, I'm not exactly sure what we're asking of her. And so unless we have an ask for her to just show up, I'm not sure how helpful that is to any of us. So it seems like you visited the parks, and maybe the idea now is to go back and do a walking tour. Some of us, either the whole group or some subset, and take pictures of what the issues are, and then to have some idea as to what we want to talk to her about, and what I'm saying demand, because it's really not a demand, but what ask that we want, so that we can make those parks better. So it's a suggestion. I'm not sure what was done last year, but that's the idea that I have, just so that we would have some type of action item for her, and not just for her to show up and just talk to us and then leave.
I understand that. One question, Alicia, supervisor is the commissioner, Mr. Mayor. We could reach out to him. But also, we did, the three of us did some work where we went and assessed all the parks, and we have not published or have not presented the results of that. And I think that's something we want to do next time we meet, where we will present what our findings were. And then we could also go back and do another two to see what happened, and then should answer a question. What I can say, I had some problem in the park across the street where I live, and I reached out to her. She was able to come and make some of the correction. And also one of the proposal that the commissioner suggested, that to have this, most of those projects are next to schools, is to really to get some of the school involved. And I think, David, you have something you wanted to say about that? Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that since most of the parks are adjacent to schools, and the school curriculum provides physical education for the youngsters, and they emptied the school at lunchtime. These youngsters are able to go into the park and the area. However, the Board of Education, in no shape, form, or fashion, is responsible for the environment in the park. So therefore, there are situations whereby grass is growing, the concrete there's no maintenance, and the kids are there during the physical education program, and also during the break time, and when they leave the building itself. But no one is talking to each other. So in other words, the Board of Education people are no way talking to the people who are in the parks and recreation. I think there needs to be some type of dialogue between the two, since the Board of Education is using the facility.
There is a complete disconnect with the Board of Education and the Parks Department. They seem not to communicate with each other. And I think both sides are using that as an excuse to leave the parks in the conditions they are. There is no reason, right, that grass should be growing out of the cracks on the basketball court. That's ridiculous. I mean, forget the fact that the backboards are 40, 50 years old, right, in some of these parks, but to have grass growing out of the basketball or the cracks on the basketball court is unacceptable. It is a complete neglect. Then, and I'm talking about one of the parks, Jason and Marie Park, where the younger children play. The protective covering is over 25 years old. This is an accident waiting to happen, and we don't want it to happen. That's why we so persistent with getting these things done. Last year they told us that we were on top the list to get some money to do these repairs. Now we have to start all over again from the bottom, because this happened and that happened and they don't have any money, etc., etc. But that being said, our kids are being shortchanged, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, but I must say for over 40 years. Because the backboards in this particular schoolyard, right, at the corner in New York and Empire Boulevard, is 40, 50 years old. This is ridiculous.
this
So if you want to
part of it.
tackle, I think you, I, and David, and anybody else would like to join us. We want to develop a specific plan how we're going to tackle this particular situation. So I'm all volunteering this guy to be part of a subgroup that will be continuously working on that. In terms of the Prospect Park Alliance, we had Courtney was our representative last year. Is there anybody else interested to be there? Or are you still interested to continue, Courtney?
I'm still interested.
Okay. And we had Naima, who was our liaison to the Brooklyn Museum and all the arts. So is there anybody else interested in joining her or working with her to interface with the Brooklyn Museum and some of the other visual arts location within the community board?
I'll do
Because
BAM.
you did BAM. And also,
Yeah.
we're also trying to do BRIC. BAM will be under performance tab, right?
Rick is not interested in us.
Bring,
Rick-
I know, BRIC is, we had a
Rick
nice
is not
presentation from
interested
them
in
last
us.
year.
They don't answer our calls. I suggest that we don't.
Any other
spend our-
major big cultural organization, being the visual art and the performance art that we have been trusted to interface with, to reach out to?
I just want to add, Courtney, if you are not able to go to Prospect Park Alliance, could you give me a call and I'll try to cover for you, because if you don't go and we don't get the information, then it will be a whole month before we get information from them.
Sure,
So it's important that, we stay on top of them.
absolutely.
I try to attend as many of their meetings also myself, so.
I know, but now there'll be 3 of us for sure and we won't miss, but because they're up to stuff. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be the sour note, but just as I said, there's music in the veil that they presented to us as, the safeguard for the birds, and you see how they act. So
Can I add just a couple of things, because I want to make sure I'm clear as to the things that I would like to contribute to. So the first is that the neighborhood parks.
Right.
It seems like we need a whole lot of work there. I know you've already done the work, but just to keep whatever pressure we can up. And one of the ideas with the pictures, and I'm not sure, Nicholas, what your list or report will look like, but I think to the extent that we are going back and forth to elected officials, that we are taking pictures every month so we can document what's going on. If they're telling us that they're going to come and do something, we can say this is a picture in September 15th or whatever. This is a picture October 15th. So we can really put some pressure on by being very consistent in how we address them. And I'm willing to work with others in that regard.
Well, then I could add your name to that list that I'm making, right?
Yes, exactly. And the second list I would like to be added to is the Prospect Park Alliance with Courtney and Julia.
Okay, I'll put your name there too. Okay. If
So
anybody
Celeste,
knows any other
Celeste, just a
cultural
heads up that
organization-
they meet in the middle of the day. So I'm just giving you.
Oh, well,
They meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesdays.
that
till,
doesn't
you know,
work
the
for
fourth-
me.
What?
I'm at work
Are there
on Wednesdays.
any other
I'm just
organization
telling
I
you that
know-
that's part of the dilemma, and that's why I'm saying that they're slippery, because who's got time to be there? And the people who go there are people who already work in some other kind of parks situation. So normal, regular citizens are not able to go.
Yeah, no, I can't go to that
Okay,
because
so
that's
I'm
when
just
I
giving
go
you,
to
I'm
work.
just giving you the heads up. If, you know,
Thank
you look like a
you.
young person who's probably still working.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not young, I'm not young, but I am still working. Thanks.
There will,
Well, I'm just saying you look like a young person. There you go.
okay. In the interest of time, I'm gonna try to move because we're already reaching 8:30. There's one more major organization which we had last year, which is the Prospect Park Zoo. Unfortunately, Marley, who used to come to our meeting, has moved on and have left the WCS, the Wildlife Conservation. And I suggested in their email that they'll have somebody else assigned. We need somebody to liaison with them so we could continue. And also the Botanical Garden, which I forgot to put here too. We need somebody that was a liaison to that. Where would I
think
put
they
that?
already Nicholas,
Yes.
for the zoo, the supervisor, Marley supervisor was Sue Jen, and
Yes.
she's the one who's supposed to take over where Marley left off.
Okay.
Her name's Sue Jen?
Sue Jen. And I can't remember the last name right now. Sue Jen.
So, but I think we do need somebody from our group to liaison with them. Because they came and represent the organization. So I need to have somebody from the committee who's going to concentrate and liaison with the I'm going to add another bubble here. So when I finish.
Okay, so you can put my name on that because I'm still in contact with Bill.
Are you still in contact with them? So I'm going to change this to Prospect Park. Let's make this Prospect Park Zoo. So here we're going to put Julia. Not Julia. Brenda. Right? Okay. Anything else? Any other organization we should add to that? Because I could extend that circle for more bubbles. Eventually, when that document is finished, we have somebody. Is there any organization that you guys know? I know in terms of sports, one of the places we're responsible for is the Major Owens Center. Because at the beginning, they did a few presentations with us before they opened, but we haven't heard much anything from them. So we need to have somebody.
There's not much going on there. We can't afford to go.
Well, the fight is really the same way we did with the Botanical Garden. Let's see, I check. Let me do that. Okay, I could do that. Okay, in this one we will put which one we're missing here? I'm saying
BBG.
BBG, yeah.
Yes, we started a conversation with them, we had several interactions with them, but no finalization.
No, actually, they're gonna come and present to us again whenever they need something or if we want something. They told us,
the presentations are nice, but we want to go beyond just
the project we came and presented to them, which is still, I think we're probably going to discuss that a lot more in detail next meeting. They said, all right, go ahead, do the project. If you need anything from us, let us know. That was where they started. That's where they left it. They said, we are already too busy doing all the stuff. Put together your project. If we have if it's something you need, just ask us and we'll contribute. That was the extent. But we do need somebody to
I'll do it.
Interface with.
I'll do it.
And I'll do it too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brenda and I will double team them.
Okay. Let me go paste. All right, so.
Nicholas,
I'm
you are
gonna-
past the 8:30 hour. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, I know, I'm about to finish. All right, I'll finish that up and then I'll just put in the note that Brenda will do that. So let me go back to agenda, see where we at. So we have some of the liaison. Naima, you didn't tell me, are you still want to do interface with the Brooklyn Museum?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. So I have the name. So by next meeting, I'll email to you guys that finished schematic. Okay. Since we're reaching 8:30, I'm going to see. I wanted to each grouping that interface with a cultural institution, find a way to see if we could come up with an event or a project with them. So I want to leave that for you for next meeting. And the only thing I would like to suggest is for CB9, and I think I said it before, to do a board-wide conference meeting for all the park and recreation chair toward the Brooklyn. I would say, well, let's host it. Let's have it happen somewhere. This is the ideas that's percolating in mind, either at the Botanical Garden or the Prospect Park, where we would have everybody that's dealing with Parks Department from the City Council on down. Get the head of the City Council, Parks and Recreation, and this is a good event that would bring people from Mr. Abrams' park. So I think this is something we should plan for next spring, where we'll have a one-day conference, face-to-face, and we can have all the different community board invited, and they'll come specifically people that are chair, because each community board has a park and recreation committee. So we could come and share information and best practices. So let us work on this planification for next meeting, between that next meeting, and then we could talk, we'll put that back as part of the agenda. Any questions? Are you guys ready to take a resolution in supporting the 1% campaign that Mr. Abraham presented to us? If so, somebody can put on a motion and then we could vote on it.
I make a motion that we support New Yorkers for Parks in their quest for 1% of the city's budget being allocated as it was promised by Mayor Adams to the Parks Department.
I second.
Right, I second
Oh,
that.
we have a lot of seconds. Can I move for unanimous consent?
Yes.
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 All right, so we can say, let's put back, it has been unanimously consented that this particular CB9 Committee of Park Recreation will support the 1% as proposed by the New Yorkers for Park. Let's, whoever's helping us taking note, let's make that as one of our resolution, and it will be part of our minutes that we'll submit for the general meeting.
Okay.
So we'll follow up with him to get the instrument done, both the letter and the petition. And I would say, in addition, let's have that petition available at every general meeting for the next.
Okay, you
couple
say have it available. Who's going to be having it available?
Well, most of our meeting, I think the general meeting will be in person. So we're going to have the office have it available to have it as part of.
Okay, the office is not, that is not the office's job. That is not the office's job. If you want a piece of paper that's going to come back empty, you make it the office's job. Somebody on this, I'm just saying, Nicholas, come on.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, let's take a reality check.
Okay.
So I would suggest if you are interested in doing it, you get it printed up, you get it on a clipboard, and you ask people before and after the meeting to sign the petition. And if you can't do it, then you ask somebody else from this committee to do it. We
Oh, I
have
don't
until
mind
the
doing
end of
that.
the year to do it, okay?
Yeah,
But if you get
I don't
to the
mind doing
office,
that.
they are already overworked.
Mhm.
Let's leave it at that. They're overworked.
Any other
The results,
person,
the
any other
results will
person
not,
would
the
like to
results
help
will
me
not
with
be
that?
what you want.
I gladly volunteer for that.
Okay. Okay, so
Okay.
you're gonna get the,
They want to
um,
say
the
something. Go
base
ahead,
letter.
Dave.
You're gonna get the base letter and you're gonna get the petition and you are in
Right.
charge with signing the petition. Got it. Okay, keep going.
So,
They also
any
have
other
online
suggestion with regard to this topic before we move on?
Nope.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
I think that the New Yorkers for Parks, there's a way to sign online. So you don't have to have a piece of paper there, but you can inform people how to sign. Having someone stand at each meeting with a actual paper petition to be signed and then keeping track of that over the next couple of months may be an onerous task, but
Okay.
they have ways to sign the petition online. I think they've emailed it to me several times or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
They do. I
Well,
signed
that's
it on.
good. If there's an online petition, that's better. Okay.
So if you speak
It's
with
easy to
Daniel, I'm sure
bring a device and have people come to that device, fill it out, and then send it in. Also, okay, I don't mind doing
Yeah,
that. either.
all you need on your little clipboard is the QCR and have
I
them
mean, the
click it.
QR code, the QR code. Yeah.
QR code, have them have
Yes,
the
yes,
QR
yes,
code.
indeed. So we'll get that
Okay.
QR code and make it available for people to do that.
right.
That's
Yeah.
And
fantastic.
Daniel already said they have letters and things. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's use
Absolutely
what's
agree.
available and keep moving forward.
Let me reach out to Mr. Abraham to see the best way to get it done, especially if it's already online. So just the QR code, you come with your smartphone, you click it, you go on, you fill it in, and we'll have that available. Now, sounds great.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Are there any old business?
There's a lot of old business, but we can't go through it tonight.
All right, so all business has been tabled for next meeting. Are there any new business?
So I'm up for new business. I sent over pictures. Do you need me to share my pictures?
I've seen
you
the
don't need to.
pictures, yes, if you can
Okay,
share it.
and does
So
anybody
let's
need
take
me to
two-
do it
Let's
because
take
they're
2 or
just
3
dreadful?
minutes to go over it, because I myself went by Jackie Robinson. I only saw one area that was cordoned off, but I don't know if this condition are still the same. That was right on the park.
And what day did you see it?
Oh, that was about a week ago.
Okay, so my question is, who do we need to address that this gets cleared up? Because I think that they've been using the children's park
Right.
playground. I think that's a playground. I don't think that's a
It's a
park.
playground that I saw.
At the children's playground as a staging area. And just as we were saying, the construction and the playground are not speaking to each other, and nobody's advocating for that playground.
Okay.
Who
Can I ask you a
does
question?
anybody
Is
have
this
any idea?
construction for the
who-
playground or for something else?
Say again.
Is the construction for the playground or something else?
It's for something else. It has to do with the street.
Street.
Oh, yeah, so it's Department of Transportation then. Well, that's the
Okay.
person we have to address, and then we should reach out.
Okay, so we sent these pictures to Dante. We got crickets back. Let me say that again, because Dante, when you listen to this, when we sent it to Dante, we got crickets back. Okay.
Crickets.
Just-
What do you mean?
Dante's crickets means no sound, no response. Just let's be
Nothing.
clear. Let's not speak in the vernacular. There was no response to the pictures, etc., that was sent regarding Jackie Robinson Park. I get emails 2 or 3 times a week about road closures on New York Avenue and this place and that place. So why are we not getting emails regarding parks that are being closed or used for other purposes
Versus
than
other than-
playground parks?
Well,
I
Is
agree.
it,
what I
is
can
it
do,
possible to put the picture up so we can see what you're talking about?
yeah,
Here, let me share.
8:46
Khalid,
p.m.
you want to allow,
Let me share the screen. Let me share the screen.
allowed you that share screen there for a few minutes to show the pictures.
Okay, can I do it? Oh, am I up?
I'm gonna stop sharing and let's, okay.
Can I share now?
Not yet.
No. Oh,
Judy, Khalid, can you have Judy, can
Yes.
you start to share screen?
okay.
This is our last
Still-
topic.
Yeah, still nothing. Am I up now?
All right,
No.
Should be able to do it now.
go
Okay,
ahead.
okay, hold on, let me see. Shoot. What did she say? Brenda always tells me I need to practice.
All right. The little green thing here.
Okay, here it is.
That's why it says 8:46.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I know. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
because
Okay, can you
wanted
see
to
it? Okay, it's coming up, it's coming up. Okay, this is the park. Can you see it?
No,
No.
I see you.
No,
Oh, you should have emailed it to me. So I could have done it.
I did email it to you. I did
Emailed
email it
them
to
weeks
everyone.
ago.
Okay,
I should have spoken to you
a
before
week
this. I
ago.
would have
Okay,
had it ready.
okay, it's on my computer and I'm not gonna spend the last minutes trying to figure out how to do it.
So it's
um,
gonna
Can you-
take too much
Can you
time to
email
do
it to us then? Can you email it
Sure,
to the
I will,
committee?
yeah, I will email, okay. So let's,
Email it to
what happened is
everybody
you were not on
again.
the email when we sent the original list.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay, so I will send it to everyone again.
Okay. So I was
Could you,
table.
excuse me, Miss Bryan? Could you
Right.
resend it to the board again, just so I could follow with Dante, knowing this is an issue?
Okay, I will, okay, I'm
And
resending.
also,
Thank you.
I will follow up with him at the executive committee meeting next week. Okay?
And wait a minute, Khalil, am I sending it to you or sending it to
You can
CB9?
send it to the board, and I would
Okay.
follow up with
PKO
Dante in the
that.
morning about this, and then follow with yourself and the committee.
Okay, so I'm sending it to the committee and to CB9 again. Okay, and Celeste, you're on the email for tonight?
Yes, if you
Yes,
got
I
it,
am.
and she's there.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay, then I will have everybody's email. Okay, I will do that. Okay, I'm done.
So thank you very much. I mean, I think we have another 2 more board members that didn't show up for this meeting. So we got to find out I'm going to try to reach out to them to find out what's happening and see what happens. So I'm going to see if somebody will make a motion to adjourn.
Oh my God. It's like,
I moved to
Celeste, is
adjourn.
that you? Okay,
Second.
okay.
I got
So
you,
guys,
Celeste.
Looking forward to a lot of
Oh,
work.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to be in touch with you in between the meetings. So we prepare for the next meeting because there's a
Yes.
lot of things we can do. We haven't had a chance to talk about how we're going to get the school involved in some of the project we have. We'll do that next week. Next time.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
And
you.
when's the board meeting, the general board meeting is what? Is it
The
this week?
26th.
26.
Okay, okay, so I have
26.
between now and the 25th to get the minutes.
So
to
I
you.
invite everybody to attend that board meeting, please. Okay?
Right. It's an in-person meeting at
It's in person.
At right across the 71st
school.
precinct.
precinct, right? The corner of New York and Empire
Corner of New
Boulevard.
York and Empire, right?
Where they always used to have it? Is that
Yeah.
the same place?
Yeah, where they used to
Okay,
have the
yes.
meetings before. Empire
Okay, cool.
All
and
right.
New
It's
York.
a very good
Thank you very
meeting.
much,
Thank you
guys.
very much. Good night, everybody.